how much time do you really need to study for the LSAT? And like any lawyerly type of answer, it depends. I'm going to share with you my timeline and my experience, my score jumps, and all of that good stuff. So I'm going to record this video and do as minimal editing as possible because I want to get it up for you guys. And I have been so bad at uploading regularly. I've been studying for the LSAT. I just took it last week. That's finally out the way, kind of, for now, hopefully. And I'm currently working on my applications, but I do read all of the comments. Thank you so much for all of the engagement. I do make a note of every suggestion for a video, and I have a list and I'm working my way through it. So if you have another topic that you want me to cover or you have any questions for me, I will either answer it directly in the comments or make a full video if it requires one. That out the way, let's get into it. So how long do you need to study for the LSAT? It's going to vary for everybody. But I do want to preface this by saying you don't need to study a lot of time in a day. LSAT progress comes, I don't even want to say little by little, because I had 2 big 10-point jumps in my score. But I personally found that studying for more than like 2 hours a day just wasn't productive. You really only need to study an hour a day is great. So I don't want you to think that if you study more hours in a day, you can speed this timeline up, because it just doesn't work that way. At least it doesn't for me. And a big reason for that is because, wow, I'm kind of like going way out of order, but we're just going to go with it. A big reason for that is because I found confidence is so important, so important to LSAT progress. Because when you believe you can do it, you just do better. When you aim for a higher score, you just do better. That said, I noticed that whenever my confidence was down, or you're doing drills or you're reviewing a time section and you're seeing wrong answers, you review those wrong answers, but when you keep seeing so many wrong answers, it kind of messes with your confidence. And so doing that for so many hours a day without taking a break just kind of does more harm than good after a certain point. What I did was I studied for about an hour a day, and I learned this the hard way. So I did have days where, like, when I started out, I was trying to study like 4 hours a day, but it wasn't helping. So I would study for an hour, and then I would take a break, and that hour is maybe an hour of drills or a time section, and then reviewing however many wrong answers I could in that hour. And then I'll take a break, get up, do something else, talk to a friend, have lunch, I don't know, go outside. If I still had time to study, like in my schedule, then I'd sit down after that break and maybe study for another hour. But personally, I found that I didn't need to study more than an hour a day. It didn't make a huge difference. And an hour a day was sufficient to see progress. That said, I don't know if you hear my dog shaking. That said, your timeline is going to depend, and the first thing you need to do is remove any idea of when you're going to apply out of your head. Just remove that pressure from yourself. Dog's licking the tripod stand, so it's moving. Don't be committed to taking a specific test date, and don't okay, sorry, that just made me, I missed the September test registration deadline, so I have to take it in October. What I'm planning to, I want the option. and I needed to make sure that I didn't miss that deadline, and I wasn't gonna be able to focus on this video until I knew that. So anyways, don't have your heart set on taking a specific test date until your practice tests are in the range that you want your score to be. To know how long that might take, you're gonna need to take a diagnostic test. But that diagnostic test, even it's not gonna tell you how much time you need. Because it depends on not even how long or how much you study. It depends on, are you studying effectively? Because you can definitely study, spend all the time in the world and make no progress if you're not studying correctly. So I think I'm gonna do another video on how I studied. I'll touch on it a little bit here, but I think that deserves a whole video, because I went from a 152 to a 170. I don't know what my official score is yet, but that was the progress I made for my practice tests, and I studied for about 6 months. So in that said, if I don't have the score that I want, I'm gonna wait another cycle, because I have my heart set on a specific school that I want to go to, and I know I want to go to a top 14 either way, but I have my heart set on a specific school, and if my score is not competitive enough for that school, then I'm just gonna wait. Okay, so you're going to, one, not have your heart set on a specific date or feel like you need to apply at a specific cycle. I did a whole video on, why. I'll link it up here or up there or wherever, on why you should wait until you have the right LSAT score. So many reasons why. Please check out that video. But some people study for a year. Some people it takes a year. Some people are able to get the score that they need within a few months. Some people catch on to things very fast. Some people don't. I will say the prep course that you use is going to be a huge factor, because some prep courses are going to just make your studying more efficient. That's what I found with LSAT Demon. And again, I have another video on why I switched from 7 Sage to LSAT Demon. Wish I would have started with that from the jump. So if you use the right prep course from the jump, your timeline might be shorter. But yeah, so I spent 6 months studying. I was within my good enough range to take the LSAT. And when I say good enough, I mean good enough to have a good chance of getting a full ride to a mid-tier school, and good enough to be able to get into a top 14. Hopefully, God willing. You know, test scores are not a guarantee to admissions, but looking at the 25th, 50th, 75th percentile of the schools that I want to go to, I know that I was at least scoring with my practice tests in the range to be able to get admitted. So I took the test in August. I missed the September deadline, and I'm going to take it again in October, pending my score. But you have to register, for October before you even know your August score, and you have to register for September before you even take the August test. So, but if I don't have a good enough score in October, I'm just going to wait another cycle. And the reason for that is I don't want to apply late in the cycle for so many reasons, but I've spent the last 6 months, especially the last 3, researching the admissions process, talking to admissions deans, etc., based on my application and my circumstances. If I don't have my application and test score by the end of October, I'm waiting a cycle. So wow, I kind of just rambled a lot. I don't want to make this video very long. I feel like there's other things that deserve a full video, but I did want to upload something and address some of the questions that I've been getting. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do a whole nother video on how I studied. One of the biggest things that helped me, though, that I will say for right now, is a wrong answer journal. So I'm gonna do another video on how I studied, and in that I'll include how I did my wrong answer journal. Oh, but I will say, so within the first month of me studying, I went from 152 to 162, and like that. And then I stayed at 162, 159. And when I went from 162 to 159, I was like, I'm regressing. Oh my goodness. Like, no, it's not the right direction. Then I went for a trip for a week, did not study the entire time, came back, got a 170 on my practice score. On my practice test. So this is why I say taking breaks are good. At least one day a week off from studying. And you don't need to study for a ton of hours in a day. It's just not productive. This is something you learn little by little. You chip away at it a little bit every day versus long chunks here and there, if that makes sense. So I went from 152 to 162, stayed there for a little while, went to 159, then I got a 170. After the 170, my practice test scores were, I got a 166, I got another 166, then I got another 170, then I got a 168, and then I got a 169, and then I took the practice test. My goal score is at least a 170, 170 something. 170 anything, 170. I'll be happy to apply this cycle. And if I don't have practice test scores higher than 170, like if my practice test scores don't reach like 173, then I'm not even gonna take it in October, because there's no point in taking it again just to get like 1 point higher, you know? Just based on the things that I've been told from the admissions dean at the school I specifically want to go to. Every school is a little bit different. Everybody's goals are a little bit different. But that's just my story and my LSAT journey. Again, I will do a full video on how I studied. If there are any questions that you have for me or any other video recommendations that you would like me to do, please leave them in the comment. If you're not already, please subscribe. It helps me so much because your girl's got a long way to go to get monetized. But my goal is to get monetized before I start law school, so that this can help, you know, get me through. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.